Welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock and it's time for a Talk Magic. And today I am sitting down with a guy whose career I have followed very, very closely. And I'm a huge fan of his work, such a creative thinker, and also the recipient of the Magic TV Magic Awards App of the Year for Locked and Loaded. It is the one and only Ryan Schlutz. How you doing, Ryan?
We have a cheering sound effect. Yes, I won. I won.
And I'm telling you, dude, well deserved. That app is incredible. I'm doing a lot of virtual shows at the moment. As you can imagine, we can't really go out and do anything else. And it's the only routine I do that is in every single virtual show I do. It is incredible.
It touches my heart to hear that. It really does. Appreciate
and
that.
You know what I love? You see, it's a worrying trend in Magic these days. You see a lot of creators that almost like do this hit and run thing. Right, I've released this product. Now I'm going to run off to the next thing. Now I'm going to run off to the next thing. Oh, I'm not too sure about this. Well, tough. I'm working on my new thing now. You're creating this whole community around Locked and Loaded. So, it's not like you've just, here is the app. You haven't done an illusionist where you've gone, okay, well, we're not going to actually support this app anymore. We're going to pull it off market. You've gone in the opposite direction. Well, every week, it feels like there's more updates and more ideas and more bonus routines. And the Facebook group that you've created around it is one of the most vibrant on the, that I've ever seen in a long time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
And it just shows the type of person you are, that you're putting so much effort into making sure that the people that are buying this thing are getting so much value out of it.
You said it right. I mean, for me, it's so important. Like when I put something out there, I want to make sure people actually use it and it actually works. And if I can make it better, I can. And the app is so cool because unlike the traditional formats like a DVD or a book, it's permanent. Where the app is the first time where I can make these live updates because I'm always thinking of new ideas. I'm always trying to push the envelope. And I love the fact that I have this outlet where I can constantly do that. So I appreciate you noticing that.
Absolutely. And it was weird when I first saw Locked and Loaded and your name was attached to it. I don't think of you as an app developer or an app guy. I think of you as and we'll talk about this, I think of you as the self-working card guy. And then all of a sudden, killer app that's come out and it's like, Ryan Schulz has brought this out. And I'm like, really? I didn't expect to see that. But that was cool. Have you got a background in producing apps, or was it just something that you thought?
No, but I do have a background in just, if I have an idea, I just go after it, and I don't care how hard it is, and then when I do it, I want to make it the best as possible. And with the app, the story behind that is 2 years ago, one of my Magic buddies, he's also a programmer. He does apps. He's the one that designed it, my buddy Chris Turner. He came to me and said, hey, I just want to make an Magic app, but obviously you're a creative guy. What do you have? And I was like, honestly, man, I really don't have anything right now, but if I come up with something, I'll get back to you. And then 2 years later, is when the idea finally hit me. So it took me that long because I kept thinking of it, but nothing ever stuck until one day I was just thinking about, man, how cool it'd be if I could just be like, boom, on the home screen, have a prediction. And that's where it all kind of started, right? But then it became like, how do you do the input method and that kind of stuff. And I've been openly telling people online with input. I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just really simple. But that's where I got really excited because at first, like, how do you input it? What's the input methods? And then once I stumbled on the whole volume button input thing that the app runs on, that's when I was like, oh, this is perfect because this feels how it would feel. Like the app to me is important to feel the exact same way you would normally handle a phone. That's why like accelerometers and all the typical inputs just they weren't going to make it for me. If I can't do it, if I had to do it that way, I wasn't going to do it at all. So, but yeah, it was my first app and I'm really excited how it came out. And then the coolest thing is like the feedback you just gave me now and the community keeps me going. Like you guys, honestly, the more feedback I hear from you, the community, if you guys are watching right now, I mean, keep it coming. I love it. I feed off of that. When you have ideas and you want to push it, it keeps me motivated. But just know that I am one guy. Just I want to make sure people know that I'm not a big corporation. So
absolutely, and it's even more impressive with what you've been doing when you are one guy. But I want to talk about Locked and Loaded some more. But before we do, let's just assume that there's people that are watching this that don't know who Ryan Schulz is. Okay. Let's start from the very beginning because I started following your career way back when I was on the Wizard Product Review. I remember reviewing your first DVD. Now that must be over a decade ago now, or around about 9 or 10 years ago. You've been creating magic consistently since then. When did you get into magic? What was your kind of origin story? Were you a kid and you got a magic book, or where did it all happen? When did the bug bite?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I remember very clearly. It was third grade for me. So I'm 37 now. So you guys can do the math because I don't know how old you are at third grade. It was a talent show at school, and my mom actually taught me my first trick. So it was the pull the shoelace or string through your neck. The old, like, you do the whole little finger movement thing. So that was it. That was my first trick. I did it, and then the whole class was just silent. But I thought they hated it. But then I just kind of walked off stage, and I just, oh, hey, ta-da, and I walked away. And then after the show, they came up to me like, Ryan, what was that? Was amazing. How did you do that? And then I was like, wait, you liked it? I thought you hated it. But like, magic's that weird thing where like silence is sometimes a good thing, right? You're used to like music and people clapping, but not always with magic. So that was the early bug where I got bit. And then what really did it for me was then early 90s is when the world's greatest magic was on TV. I don't know if you ever watched the show, but that was huge influence. And that's where I first saw like Leonard Green and all these kind of guys like that. And I was just watching, like, Michael Omar was on there, and Matt King and all these guys. And I was like, what is this? This is so cool. So I taped it on my VHS tape, and I would just rewatch it over and over and over again. And then, so I kind of just did that. And I did a typical path I'm sure a lot of magicians here watching it did, where I just had the magic set and I made the best with that. But I was always drawn to the card magic. That's where I would always, I would try other tricks, but that's ultimately the one that I really loved. Except for one was a Tinyo trick. The one with the sword in the box with the little ring. That thing was awesome.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, crystal clear.
I mean, to me, that was actually pocket carry-around magic. I had that in my pocket all the time. So I got a trick for you. Can I borrow your ring, madam? Don't worry about the box. Back then, you didn't care about justifying something. You were a young kid just doing magic. So that was probably one of my first like non-card tricks, I guess to say. Love that trick. I'm sure a lot of people here remember that trick too. But then cards was always my thing. But then got to high school. And that's when I got the Michael Omar series, the Easy to Master Card Miracles, and then that's when it really bit, and that's when I just became obsessed with card magic. And then really that was it. That's basically it. And then that's all she wrote. And then it probably took a long time to ever come up with my first trick. I think it was 2013. Oh, let's see, 2009. 2009 is the first time I actually created my own effect. That was the first time. But it took years of just performing and reading and watching videos and going to conventions. And finally, I just had this like desire to create your own trick. I don't know why. I just wanted to so bad. Oh, my wife is calling me. I'm just hang up real quick. Okay. Sorry, baby, if you're watching this later. So, but yeah, sorry, I'm distracted. I don't know what I was saying now. What was I saying? I forget now. But
I don't know, something about creating magic. No, yeah. So so when did you started creating your own magic tricks, which is absolutely awesome. Now, at some point, you released your first DVD, and I think that was through Big Blind Media, and it was all about self-working magic. Now, and I want to talk about your releases in a minute, but before I do, I know that when you first started in magic, you were a sleight of hand guy. Like you were, you can do the anti-pharaohs and everything. You've got just for the people who are watching this that think that Ryan's only released self-working tricks, he doesn't know how to do sleight of hand. This guy is a sleight of hand demon right now. So what made you go from learning all of this incredibly complicated stuff to then transition into becoming known as a guy that focuses on self-working magic? Where did that sort of shift occur?
I know we talked about it a little bit, but Martin Nash was definitely my early influence in magic, because Michael Mark got me started, and I saw Martin Nash, the charming cheat, and then I just loved the intricacies of his card magic, and I just said, I'm going to learn this. I just put the time and hours to learn it, and that's what I did for years. And then it was until I was at a Daytona Magic convention here in Florida. There's a local magic convention nearby, and I think it was Alan Choquette. He's from Canada. I don't know how to say it. Alan or Alan. Okay. But yeah, sorry if I butchered your name. Sorry, Alan or Alan. But he was just hanging out in the lobby, and he just like, oh, shuffle your deck, and he goes into a trick, and then just, I mean, it was basically as hands off, like the way I remembered it. It was like, okay, think of a card, got it. He fanned the cards on the table, and he was like, he just looked at me in the eyes, and he just said Queen of Hearts, and I was like, what? I didn't say anything. I didn't choose anything. I was like, in my mind, I was just devastated. And I was like, why do I even bother doing all this sleight of hand when this man did nothing and he knew more? So that's what really got me like hooked on the self-working magic. So I bought his booklet, and then I realized he didn't have that trick in there, but I realized he had a lot of these cool principle-based stuff that like these kind of intuitive math things that are kind of hidden, and you can layer and stuff like that. So his book was probably the first influence. And then I had friends in town who were also kind of like in that realm. And so I just kind of fell in love with that whole hands off. I don't call it like self-working magic, because no magic is self-working, right? If it's easy, it just means you have to do more work personality wise to sell it, right? I call it definitely a hybrid magic. I call it, or some kind of hybrid magic. So for me, I was really what motivated with him. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I searched for probably 10 years for that trick. Like I remembered it in my head, and I just read everything I could just looking for that trick. But then the happy upside was I learned a lot of magic looking for one trick. And I'm happy to say I did find it. It was actually, turns out, it was in Ramon Riabu's book that he put out, like, and he only published it not too long ago in English. So it took me that long because I could never, it just wasn't available until I read that book. And I finally found the method, and I was like, that's how he did it. And I finally, like, for that point, it was too late. I was already hooked. He got me down that path. So, and then in the second, sorry, go ahead.
Go. No,
oh yeah. Yeah. And then the second reason I love self-working so much is just I like puzzles. I like creative solutions. And I feel like it's so easy to be in a moment and be like, all right, I'll just do a double lift here. Oh, I'll do a cut here. I'll do this. All these moves that I learned and everyone else probably watching has learned. But then I was like, man, but could you do it without a double lift? Is that possible? Maybe I don't need, maybe can I do it without, could they shuffle the deck? Could the deck be shuffled at this point in the routine? And typically the answer is no, you have to hold a break or this and that. So then that's what really started like my own personal journey. Before I was just learning tricks that weren't my own, but I was devouring all these concepts and ideas. And only then when I started putting these self-imposed restrictions on my own self is when I started developing my own style and my own kind of way of doing like card magic. Because I would think like I'm only saying this, people have told me this. They say like they know it's a Ryan Schlutz trick now because of how the structure and how the flow works, right? Typically a pencil dot is somewhere involved, but you know what? It's okay. I took what I think pencil dots were very much like looked down upon. And I think I show people like, it's actually powerful if you use it a certain way, right? You just got to change, you change your perception of how you use it, so. But yeah, I love it, man. I love that whole world. But yeah, sleight of hand for me is basically, I don't really do it much anymore, but I still do it. Like every once in a while, like I have a routine where a colo or something, it's just the best way to do what I'm trying to achieve. So I'm not against it. I just like, it has to be the perfect like solution for it. Otherwise I'll find something else to do. So.
But I've studied a lot of your work, as you know, and I've watched you perform, and a lot of the tricks that are marketed as effortless card magic. How do you even go through the process of creating this stuff? Because I'm a creator. I've released a lot of magic, and I have a certain process that I go through. Okay, I want to achieve this. I can do a double lift here. I can do this here. I can do this here. You're like creating new principles. You're creating new methods. You're doing stuff that hasn't been done before. And I just, as much as I like to think of myself as creative, my brain couldn't even wrap itself around trying to do the stuff that you do. I'm just glad that there's people out there like you that can create it so I can benefit from it. But how, from a creativity point of view, because it is the holy grail for people coming into magic, they want to be able to create magic for themselves so they can personalize it. How do you approach you know, when you're creating something, because you've published so much material, how do you approach that creativity point of view, especially with some of the other, the style of routines that you do where you're not using traditional methods?
Yeah, for me, I guess the way I do, I mean, creativity is obviously, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. So for me, developing a method, I think typically people start with the ending, the effect they want to achieve, and they kind of work backwards for method. I'm different in the sense I typically start method, and I try to find a routine that makes sense with the method, right? And then so I think that's where a little bit backwards for most people, I think, because like I have no clue what the trick's going to be, and then I have a cool idea. I go, oh, this is a cool way of controlling a card that I've never seen. That's kind of hands off and fun. But so what? It on its own, it makes no sense. So then I have this one like I basically have the middle of the movie, and now I got to figure out the beginning and the end that makes it make sense. And then that's basically how like 95% of my tricks are created. I think there's only like one or two tricks I've ever put out that started with the ending, and I was like, well, how do I get to that? I want this image, this moment, and then I work backwards from there. But that's rare. That's not my normal way of doing things. So I can give you an example. Like,
yeah, please do.
Yeah, so like my way of starting with the middle. So like there's a routine in one of my tricks where, you know, so yeah, we'll just pretend. So we'll just call this the pencil dot, right? So there's an idea where I had this really cool idea where I can have the deck. What's the volume? I'm trying to give a better example. On this one, I get complicated really fast. Oh, I'll show you a better one. So there's this cool trick I came up with. It was on the first DVD actually that you saw a long time ago, where like the high card principle, right? So and then typically that's what I do. I start with a principle. I start with an idea or principle I've seen, and I try to think, well, typically it's done this way. How could you change it, right? So like for instance, here's even a better one. Easy. I'll teach a trick and show you how it came about by doing it. Because there's a Marlowe idea with the cut deeper, right? The cut deeper force, everyone sees it like this. So the cut deeper is typically the top card, right? And you do the cut, you do it twice, and of course that card will be the first face down card, right? Because this is the classic cut deeper force. So the question is, how do you rethink this? What if the challenge to me is like, okay, well, this requires on the top card. That's a gap card. This requires on the top card. Could you do it without knowing the top card? Is that possible, right? So that was the requirement. And then I start rethinking, what does the move do? Well, if you think about it, if they cut off cards like this at random, and they go to the first face down card, you don't know this card, but you do know this card, right?
Yeah.
Which is the original top card, right? So now you're just getting the information later. So now if they close it up and cut one more time, now that 5 of spade will be the card that you know, right? But then, well, now they're showing you the next card, the 3 of diamonds. You say, oh, one more time. So now you're doing 3 times, which is not normal for the cut deeper. And now they're putting down the third card, which is the 3 of diamonds. And now you know 2 cards, right, that you shouldn't know from a borrowed shuffle deck, right? You haven't even touched it yet. So now you go, okay, so now I'm at the point now where I'm like, all right, I have 2 cards I know. I don't know one. How do you solution this? So here's the ending of it. You basically miscall, the classic miscall. So I know this one is the 5 of spade. So I'll basically say, oh, this is the 5 of spades. Yep, got it. And now it's the 9 of diamonds. Now I'll say, and this is the 9 of diamonds. Yep, got it. And now the third one, to make it build, I don't look at it. I go, you know what? Oh, wait. No, this really was the 5 of spade. This really was. Now I switched it. This really is the 9 of diamonds. And I think the last one, I don't even want to touch it. You look at it. I think the 3 of diamonds, you check it out for me. And now they turn it over and show us the 3 of diamonds, right? So that's basically a sums up like how I approach a very common move, like the cut deeper, and try to re-envision it and where could you take it kind of thing. So
it's that thing. That is the Ed Balducci's cut deeper force is something that's been around since time began. And everyone has done it the same way. And what you've done in that routine there is you've taken the same move that everyone else has done, completely turned it on its head, and created a routine around it, which is just, for a pure mind reading, it's completely impossible.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that's probably I try to struggle with the example to show. That's probably the best way of showing you. Now take that idea and then times it by any principle and any idea, and that's how I approach it pretty much. That's how I like. I'll take something that's everyone's done and go, okay, well, how else could you do it? Like, like my holy grail magic is like I want to be able just to have a shuffle deck, have you choose any card, put it back, the deck is now shuffled again, and I still have control of the card. So that's like the holy grail of me. Like no controls, no breaks, nothing like that. But you still know the card. So that's been like I try to solve. I've solved that problem like 7 times, but each time I solve it, it's a new trick, right? Because I usually because like I said, that middle part, okay, this I solved it, but now it's a new trick because that to get to that point, I gotta do this, and now I solved it again. Now I have to do a different beginning because now I can't do the same one because now it's not logical to do that one. So you just keep creating new tricks by trying to, for me, just solving the same problem over and over again. So yeah, it's fun.
that's incredible.
I love that
That's
stuff
incredible.
though.
That's incredible. Incredible. Now, when did you actually decide to? So you've been creating magic for yourself for a while. You said 2009 was when you kind of started to go down that path.
Yeah.
When did you decide that you were going to start releasing this to the magic community? Because for a long time you were creating magic for yourself, and then you started, and I think Big Blind Media were the first company that you worked with. I mean, you've worked with, and we'll talk about this, but you've worked with the who's who in the magic community when it comes to dealers. But Big Blind Media, who are a great production company, they Owen is amazing.
Love guys.
But he's in the UK, you're in America. How did that come about? I mean, how did you end up, and what was your thought process towards actually getting to a point where you were like, right, okay, I now want to start releasing this?
Yeah, I think everyone's been there where like when you're, I don't know, since I started getting the magic and I knew there was a magic market, like I kind of had an internal desire to release something, right? But then I had that problem where I had nothing original to release or nothing that was like original enough to release. So there's a dilemma there. You need to have something that's worth publishing. So then, and I'm lucky too, because I had like from a young age, I had, my mentors were, established seasoned magicians, 50, 60, 70 years old. So they've been around the business for a long time. So they kind of like, I'm kind of old school in the way I think, mostly because of them, right? It's been like Jeff Pierce and all these guys who like Lucky Luciano. They're all local guys who just like took me under their wing and, kind of kept me from being that punk kid. They kind of made me respect magic, Yeah. They're the reason I know all my credits because of them. They're like, every time I showed them something, they were like, well, do you know the credits? And they're like, well, I don't want to see it until you know the credits. And they wouldn't even watch the trick until I knew exactly what the credits were, who the trick was, what was it published in, what book was it from. So it forced me to do that, which at the time was annoying, but now I'm happy because obviously magic history is important to me now that I'm more mature. But yeah, so when I decided to start to answer your question, so the first thing I came up with was like, I published it. It was actually in, Joshua Jay's, Talk About Tricks column, right? So that was my very first thing I've ever put out. I'll show you on the camera now. Believe me that I wouldn't use the camera to do this, but so it's a borrowed deck. Craig, say stop for me. Say stop.
Stop.
Now I'll look away so I can't see it. You got it? Okay. And then do you see the card? I don't know if you got it on the camera. Okay. So now I would look away. I didn't see the screen. But I know the card's the King of Diamonds. Like I know the card right away, right? Without any breaks, no moves, right? This is a trick I put out called the Pivotal Peak. It's one of my favorite moves, right? And it just looks like that, and then you're done. Right? There's no secondary movements, which is kind of cool. So I put that and talk about tricks, and that was like my first like, I did it, Mom. I published, So, and then that was like 2009, and then I was like, 4 years later, I finally have my next breakthrough. I mean, trust me, I tried. I came up with a lot of bad magic before I came up with good magic, right? I think it's fine. I think creativity is a muscle you need to build. Like just like you work out to get your biceps built, you have to do the same thing with your brain and your creativity. Like you have to just make more and more connections, and then you have to keep trying because you like that Pivotal Peak was probably a fluke. That was just a happy accident. But then took me 4 more years to come up with the next trick, right? It just took a long time to find something that's worth publishing. So anyways, fast forward to, I had a couple of tricks that were pretty decent. Okay. And Cameron Francis, he's a good friend of mine. I know you know him too. He's friends with Big Blind, and he'd worked with him, and then so I had that friendship, and then Owen, I know he happened to be in town where I live for the Genie convention, and Cameron introduced me to Owen. He goes, "Oh, this is Ryan. He actually does some cool tricks. If you might be interested. Hey, Ryan, show him something." So I did like trick I call it Sensational, which I put out with Vantage Unique as a download like a while ago. And then Owen loved it. He goes, "Oh, that's amazing. Do you have other tricks just like this?" I didn't. Our little secret, I didn't, but I said yes. Fake it till you make it. Boom, boom, boom. So I mean, I had a couple of back burner ideas where I was like, all right, I had some notebook jot notes, but I was like, yeah, I have plenty. Don't worry. And then 4 months later, I was on a plane flying out to meet Owen up in England. My first time, actually, that's my first time traveling internationally. I never traveled out. I never flown internationally, never. Just like got on a plane and said, this dude I just met, that's why I love the magic community. I just went to a stranger's house across the world. I was like, I'm sure I'll be fine. So, but yeah, I mean, that was it. And I love Owen and Liam. Liam's he's a cool dude. And then, so I loved it, the whole process. And once the first DVD came out and it got really well, it was reviewed really well, and you gave it a good review too. And that's what really inspired me. Like, I like the fact that people like that style. And I was like, oh man, and I just wanted to come up with more ideas and keep pushing the envelope and see how far I could take it. Like, that first DVD is cool, but I feel like my next one was way better, and my next one was better, and so on and so forth. Because I just kept learning and kept trying to find those moments. So yeah, that's basically how I got there in a nutshell.
And I want to talk about the stuff that you've released over the years, but let me just go back to one thing that you just said there that I found very interesting. Sure. You released something. You released The Peak in Josh's in Magic magazine. And then it took you 4 years to create something else, and you created a lot of bad magic. Now, I think the problem that's facing the magic community at the moment is a lot of people, they are not doing what you did, which is recognizing that it's bad magic, right? And you see, as well as me, you see a lot of downloads coming out these days, and the trick that's being released on the download, they have no right to release that trick, either because it's terrible or it's somebody else's trick, or the crediting's wrong, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
What advice would you give? And I think a lot of the time it's newer magicians that haven't worked the material in. And the problem is these days, you went to England to film with a production company. These days, I can get a phone. I can take an iPhone 12. I can have a really good camera on that. I can have an idea in the morning, and by the evening, I've filmed it, edited it, and I've uploaded it into somewhere, and I've got it for sale. So what advice would you give new creators that are creating magic? You have to look at it long term, don't you? If you're gonna want a career as a creator, and that's what you've done, you've created a career as a creator. What advice would you give newer people that are wanting to release magic?
I mean, it's hard because you got to have that nice built-in self-edit filter that you have to have. Like, for me, like, I approached it as my name was my brand, and if I tarnish my brand, I'm done. Like, why would you buy from me if I put out bad magic, right? So that's what motivated me, to put out what I consider. I mean, obviously, subjectively, what's good, but like for me, what I consider was at least worked in, proven magic. Because I had a regular restaurant gig where I could test a lot of this stuff out. And I could test it on my friends, and I can tell how it would go over, right? Because they'd be like, "That's stupid," or "That's all." You could just tell it wasn't good, or what. That's why I called it bad magic, because I was like, no one cared, right? So I said, okay. But then sometimes you just because it was bad day one doesn't mean it's bad a year from now. Maybe you keep tweaking it. You go, oh, why was it like even The Peak? Like, I would show people, and they were like, yeah, so what? And then I was like, oh, okay. And then they said, oh, you're just doing you're doing this peak, or, the hold a break, you do the all around square up, and you get a peak, right? They said, you're just doing the all around square up. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Oh, let me try it again. And I didn't move my hand. And they're like, oh, I have no clue what you're doing, right? So, I mean, I had that ability to listen to feedback and get the feedback and then constantly improve it, right? So anyways, off topic a little bit, but I think for advice for people, is I don't know. I think you really need to have like respect for your name and not to rush to market. I mean, I know it's so tempting. Trust me, and I'm guilty of it. I'm telling you right now. I have a trick put out called Sprung and Dagger, put out 10 years ago. You can YouTube it. Don't do it, please. Just don't. It's a video. I wish I could get rid of it. It's so bad. It's cringeworthy bad. The trick is not horrible. It's just something that I wish I didn't put out. But I too fell into that trap where I was like, oh, it's a cool idea. Let's go put it out tomorrow, kind of thing. Where I fell into that early on, and I saw it, and I just immediately regretted it. And then that was like my learning curve, right? I was like, ah, never again. You're like, never again. So that's why I was like, everything from that day forward was just basically, it has to be good. It has to pass, like the wife test has to pass, the friend test, the stranger on the street test. And then after all that, then I can put it out, right? You know, so yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have that self edit. Who you guys watching? Trust me, you know, do it 100 more times. It's not ready yet. So yeah,
that's probably the best advice that I've ever heard anyone give on this channel ever. It's not ready yet. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it's not. It isn't. But it's that I get it. It's not even money. No one makes money in Magic. Let's be real. It's not the most lucrative. Like putting out. It's not why.
Hang on, Ryan. What are you talking about? You can become rich as a creator. You know, that's what everyone tells me. You can become a millionaire from creating and releasing magic tricks.
Not at all. Not at all. No, this is definitely this is you do it for the love. You might buy, maybe you'll buy you can get the guacamole added on for $250. Maybe you can afford that next time you're eating out or whatever. But other than that, it doesn't, yeah. So for me, the only reason you should release Magic is, for me, I just wanted to be like, I knew I wasn't a big performer, so I wanted to be known for creating. And then, you know, I wasn't like I chose that path. I'm going to be a creator. I just wanted to give back. At first, my intentions are very pure. I just wanted to give back. I love Magic. I love creating. I just thought it'd be cool to have something out there that someone else was using. And that was kind of my motivating goal. Like right now, this app that you're using, that right there is that's my reward. That's my payment. You know, for me, I don't care if it never makes money, which it hasn't. But I don't care if it never has. Because for me, as long as you're using it, that's cool. Because any money I make on this app, it goes right back into adding on new features, which will never end. So it's always going to be a revolving door of like, cool, now I can add this on. Cool, now I can add this on. So I'm just always channeling that money back into it. But oh yeah, it's so funny to me, man.
I totally get where you're coming from. Right, yeah. Let's get back to it. So you released your first DVD through Big Blind Media.
Yeah.
You then probably released like 4 DVDs over the next couple of years with Big Blind Media.
Yeah. Hit the market hard. Hit the market hard.
Yeah, right. You were doing Effortless Card Magic 1, 2, 3, and all that stuff. And each one was brilliant. Since then, you've released Magic with Penguin, Vanishing Ink. You've self-published a load of stuff, which I want to get to in a minute. Sure. Why was it that you went through so many different dealers? Is it just because you wanted to test the market, or was it, hey, I've got this product here and I think it's more suited to Vanishing Ink than it is to Big? What was that thought process?
Yeah, I think you hit it there with your last statement. I just realized each of these companies, there's overlap, but there's very much, you're a Vanishing Ink buyer, you're a Penguin buyer, you're a Theory 11. Like a Theory 11 buyer is not the same thing as an illusionist buyer or a Penguin Magic. Like if you're buying from Vanishing Ink, you're probably not buying from another dealer, because you just have like, in a day they kind of like their original Magic they put out. Not just, you know, everyone can, the wholesale items are different, but like, you know, they have their exclusive items. They typically cater to a certain audience, right? And I kind of realized that early on, because I put out the Peak, and you know, it got, I mean, people liked it, but it didn't really do well because no one knows who I was. And then I put out the first DVD. And then I realized, like, oh, like all my sales are coming out of Europe, because obviously Big Blind's in Europe, and that's basically it. You know, it kind of makes its way across the world, maybe a little bit in China, a little bit here, but basically stays regional to where it was released. So then I was like, oh, cool, I'll put something out with Penguin. And I realized, oh, Penguin, all of a sudden my US fans went up. And now I got a lot of US buyers. And I just realized the numbers showed me that if you really want to get your name out there and that's your goal, then diversifying with different dealers, that's the best way to do it. Is, you know, in a day they each cater to a certain market. And I realized that. So that's why I have no shame. I'll put Magic out with anybody. So
but you know, I think going back to you know, newer people coming into Magic, a lot of people want to be a creator. And I think it's because they see creators within the industry and we hold them up on pinnacles, and it's like, well, I want to be doing that thing. I want to be the guy creating Magic. How would you, what process do you go through to approaching a creator? Like I did an interview with Vanishing Ink's founder, Andy Gladwin, on this channel, and he said, the thing with Vanishing Ink is don't call us, we'll call you. We're looking for the absolute best of the best. So I'm a guy, I've been in magic for quite a while. I've got some material. I feel like it's been tested in. I've worked it. It's really getting great reactions. It's original. I've checked my crediting. I now want to approach the company. How do I approach that company and get them interested in what I'm in? What
yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think, like I said, I think the best way is through friends, and that's how I got started. I didn't approach any companies. Like Cameron was my vouching. Hey, check out Ryan. I think he's worth looking at, right? And I help friends that same way. I have friends who know me, and they reach out to me like, hey, this is a great trick. Hey, I'll reach out to Penguin for them. Hey, I know Sean at Penguin. Hey, Sean, this is my buddy's trick. It's awesome. I think you should look at it. And then already you're gonna have way more weight, right? That's the easiest way. If you can get someone to vouch for you and put your name out there, like that's the best way, honestly. Second best is if you go to a magic convention and you start doing tricks in the lobby and people are freaking out. Well, it's only a matter of time for one of those people you show who knows somebody at a company goes, oh, you should check out this trick. This trick is like the trick of the convention. And then, like you said, those companies like Vanishing Ink are going to find that person and be like, hey, you want to put this out? So, I mean, those are like probably the two main ways to really get your name out there. And now with social media and stuff, like obviously you can put tricks on if they get good traction. I'm sure that's another way people find you. But the first two are the ways I kind of find work the best. If that's your goal.
So eventually, after putting material out for all these companies, you ended up self-publishing. You obviously have your series of books, which are called
False Anchors.
False Anchors, thank you.
False Anchors.
False Anchors, which people absolutely rave about. Now, you've got a website. For two questions. One, what made you decide to then start publishing yourself? Because publishing a book is not cheap. It would be far easier to go, hey, Andy, Josh, can you do me a favor? I got a book. Can you publish it for me? They're set up to do this. They'll take on all the costs. So what made you decide to take that risk? And secondly, where can you, these books still available? Can people get them if they're just finding out about Ryan now? Are these books still accessible? And but yeah, so what made you decide to self-publish?
Yeah, I guess trust me, like putting magic out with these companies was the best thing I ever do, because obviously I would never be where I am today if it wasn't for those guys. So I'm always forever thankful for, Big Blind for giving me the first shot, for Penguin believing me, and I work with Murphy's quite a bit now. Murphy produces all my playing cards for me, so like they're, so I have good relationships with everybody, and I still do things with other companies because like sometimes it's just too much work for me. Like my next two releases are putting out with Abstract because there's just so much production behind the scenes. I'm just not going to do it. But when it came to the books, I feel like with this kind of stuff, it's like it became like a pet project for me. And when you start working with other companies, sometimes you can't always control like the quality of things or the look of things because there's just restrictions or there's costs, and they just don't want to do it, right? Like the books I published, no company would put them out on my behalf because it costs way too much money. Like I don't make much money on a book because I want super high quality printing. I want this paper. I want this stock. Like I went to the extreme, and I'm printing low quantities. So, but to me, the quality was way more important than making money, which is not a company's goal. So we just don't have the same goals. So therefore, self-publishing was my only route to get it to look the exact way I want it, right? And that's it. This book was just the way, like I said, unless you're printing 10,000 copies, it's just going to cost you a lot to do the way I designed it. So that was, and then I can also just have creative freedom. It's fun to have the full creative freedom on it. And I also like the old school way of magic. Like to me, I always envisioned magic as like people, dark rooms, and notebooks, journaling secrets down. Right. I always thought that was so cool. And with my False Anchor series was like a limited run. Like I only printed 200 copies of the book, and once they were gone, kind of thing. So I just thought that was so cool. To me, it felt like the old way of doing magic, right? The how it used to be. And I kind of just like I'm kind of nostalgic in that way. So it was just fun for me. Yeah. And then, the second question, falseanchors.com. That's falseanchors.com. So, and you can get the hardback book. If you're a collector, all the original books, they got published into one book. Those are all, like I said, sold out. They were limited run. And now they're just published as a hardback book, which you can buy this still. And then I'm putting out future booklets. Like I just put the 4th one out in like December, and I'm currently working on the 5th one right now, which will be, I don't know when it'll come out. That's the thing. I don't have a time. Like I can put it out whenever I want, which is nice. I just kind of, when I have the time to write it, I write it. When I don't, I don't. It's kind of fun. Like I said.
And where does the name Full Sankers come from?
It just, I was looking for a name, and I was trying to, because I realized with my style of card magic, I was like, why does my magic work? What's the secret sauce that makes it work? And I wanted to give it a name. And false anchors is what I decided on, because what a false anchors is you basically anchor someone's thought to a false perception that becomes their reality. So that's the whole thing. It's about, because my whole slang term, all my playing cards, they all say perception is reality, and right here. So it all says like perception is reality, which is so true. With magic is all about altering people's perception and then walking away and be like, whoa, that's amazing. So to me, like how I achieve it with my magic, with my principles, how I think about it, that's the term for it. So I try to create false anchors in people's minds, and that's how my magic works. So yeah, that's where the name came from.
And can you show us something out of one of the Full Sankers books? Or, if somebody's like, oh my gosh, I want to buy this, can you show us, not lecture it, but just perform anything for us?
Sure. I'm trying to think what to show. Because card magic is hard over this medium. I find it very difficult. But I don't know. I can show some. Yeah, if you want to, I could show. I'll show something new. This is something recent that no one's really seen. Really, it's called the intuition test. I can show you this. You want to see this?
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great.
Okay, I'll show you this, and then I'll do a trick for you, Craig, over the phone. You have cards nearby because you will need them. So I'll do it over the phone. Good. Then we'll use those in a second. Then. So let me just get this. I wasn't prepared, but I'll be prepared in 2 seconds. All right. Alrighty. All right. So let's do this real quick. So this is the, everyone at home, this is the intuition test. Now I would hand this to the person, but given the format we're in today, I will be your hands today, Craig. So essentially, this is called the intuition test. On the back, there's several questions I need you to fill in. Now, this is not a magic trick. This is truly your intuition. So I want you to just kind of go with your gut, what feels right. Okay. So the first question is, it says here, the value of a playing card. Will you name the value of a playing card, Craig, for me?
Yeah, let's go 5.
5. Okay. And then right here it says a coin toss. Heads or tails. You choose.
Let's go heads.
Heads it is. Heads it is. And then we'll do a number between 1 and 16. What do you got?
Let's go 12.
12 it is. Okay. And then the last one, it says a playing card suit. So just name a suit of a playing card.
Let's go spades.
Spade. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So think about this. All those feel like, did they feel random, or did you have a reason you said these?
Completely random.
Completely random. See, but they weren't. Because you notice I showed you the card like this before we started. That wasn't on accident. No. See this, because it looks like a jumbled mess, but believe it or not, your mind can actually find patterns in the chaos. So for instance, you could have chose heads or tails, but you chose heads. See, believe it or not, if you fold the card like this, your brain did this without you even realizing, because you look real closely right there, it says you will choose heads. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I don't know how you did that. Now, we'll take it a little further. So we'll rip it up. Now, keep me honest, Craig. Keep me honest here. I'll put the right one in front here, like this, okay? And then I'll always tear it the same way. I won't ever change it. And then like this, yep. And then the last one, this is the reason I work out. Okay, there it is. Now, don't drop them, Ryan. Keep patience. Patience is a virtue. Okay, here we go. So now I'll tell you what, that's 1, 2, actually I don't need to count. So tell you what, Craig, you chose a number between 1 and 16, right? Do you remember what number you chose?
Yeah, 12.
Okay, good, because I ripped it up and I don't have the evidence. But so 12. Now we'll actually count over 12, but we'll go from each side. Now this way, usually I'll have people do it for me, but I'll just play both parts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No more, no less. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 right here. So now think about this. These don't matter. You kind of go off screen here, but these are the pieces that we just counted to. These are the pieces that only would work. Only 12 would actually work. I know you're probably thinking, what do you mean? Because on the back of these pieces is the other parts of information that you just said. But so this one's a 5 and this one's an S for spade, right? So you think about this, you actually created a playing card. Like, how cool is that? You actually created a playing card. But this is the part that even I don't understand. Because think about this. You could have created any playing card, but you actually created my favorite playing card. You seem skeptical, like you don't believe me, right? No, this really is this really is my favorite playing card. So you see on my lock screen, I actually have the 5 of spade permanently on there at all times. I don't know how you knew it, but you are amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that style of organic magic where you can just have a little card, you can put it in your wallet, you're good to go, you've got your phone, you've got your wallet, you can perform like a 3 or 4 minute mind-blowing routine. That is exceptional. I love that.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I think it was kind of a fun challenge because it has like magical moments sprinkled out through the trick. So it's not just a one trick pony. You have all these moments, and then of course you get the locked and loaded ending. So so even better.
And is that still available to buy from? Is that in the Full Sankers books?
So this one's in the latest one that came out that sold out, but I am putting it on my website soon on paulsager.com as an individual download that you can download for people because I do love it with the app. Yeah. No, I did it with the app. You can do it with playing cards if you want to. You don't have to use the app too. So I have multiple handlings, if you will. But say it again. Sorry, I missed your question.
No, I'm guessing you'd have like a PDF or something, and you could, because obviously you're ripping up a business card every time. So you.
Yeah, so I printed like 1,000 of those cards for like $10, whatever it is. And yeah, so I basically you get the instructions with the download, and you'll get the PDF. You can just print anywhere. Everyone can print business card. I use VistaPrint, which is just easy. But anywhere locally you can print too, or even on your home printer if you do that kind of thing. I don't even have a printer, so I print externally. But yeah, I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I came up with all the different business card ideas. Like I even have like this one with a car. This is one of my favorite ideas. I took an old principle that we all do and came up with this effect. I can show you. Want to see this one? I haven't shown you yet. So let me just do one thing. I'll show you the full version here. Let me just get this one. Yep, there we go. And I'll show you this guy. Boop, boop. Make sure everything's golden here. Okay. Cool. Let me just, bam. Okay, there we go. So this is another one I will carry in my wallet, right? So this carries my wallet. So Craig, let me ask you a question. You ever taken it says right there, the driver's instinct test? You ever taken this before?
No.
I mean, in the US, I can't speak for the UK, but you have to pass like a driver's test, right? So this is just one part of like the driver's test. You might do a parallel parking, but this one's called the instinct test. You probably take it, maybe it's just called something different. But you mind if I give it to you now? Just you want to try it out?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, it's pretty simple. Make sure I get more than that. There we go. So yeah, I'll show you. Okay, so you get the car, and you would do this like with like a real car, but this is a good simulation to practice with. So yep, let's get the parking spot here. Make sure we're on camera. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3, and then of course the driver's instinct. Now, I'll tell you what, we even give you, just because I'm feeling special, we can stick with the car color now, or if you want, we even have some specialty paint here. We have black, we have like fire red, we have like a gray and like a baby blue. Do you have a color you prefer?
Let's go red.
Red. Okay.
My favorite color.
We're going fire red, baby. I love it.
Absolutely.
So there we go. So we got the fire red. We'll put that right here so we know which one you chose. And then the rest of these, we'll actually make little obstacles. So this is in the way. So over here, we'll make sure we're still in the screen. Yeah, so these little obstacles, you got to drive around the car, right? So, and just in case, maybe the order, this is an instinct. This is not like an influence test. So should I change the order? Right now it's 1, 2, 3. Do you want a different order?
Let's go 2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1. There it is, right? Like that? Perfect.
Yep.
Excellent. So 2, 3, 1. Now here comes so you get your red card. Now here you got. Now you obviously would do this. I want you to drive the car. I'll drive it for you. We'll do some donuts here. Whoop, 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 whoop. But ultimately, where are we parking this car? Are we parking in 2, 3, or 1? Where are we going here?
We're going to go into 2, right in the middle.
2, right in the middle, right there, right? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a good spot. Now, I know. Now, this is crazy though. You think about this because you made a lot of decisions here. You rearranged this, all this, right? But believe it or not, after all that, your instinct was spot on. I'll tell you what I mean. You chose 2. You could have chose 3. You could have chose whatnot. But if you look on the back of the car, it actually says you will pick 2. So you knew all along. You were holding it the whole time. You felt it. Your instinct is spot on. It's amazing. I don't know how you did it, but but it gets more interesting than that though, because it's weird. Because on the way home today, I parked in the parking garage and I saw a car parked in the parking spot. I actually took a picture and put it on my home screen. But not just that, it's actually a red car, but you chose red. But then you also, remember you chose the numbers, 2, 3, 1. If you look really close, the parking spot he was on, let me just, hold on a second. It actually says 2, 3, 1. Oh. I don't know, but that's pretty crazy.
That is brilliant.
So yeah, says the guy who does card magic. I'm doing all these weird tricks, but for me, this is like what I find really fun. This kind of stuff is like really entertaining to me lately. I just like taking these ideas and seeing how far I can take it. So
as a locked and loaded user, I want that trick. That is such a cool thing to keep in your wallet and just be able to pull out. That's great.
And as a user, it's on your in-app purchases, so you can just hit click and add it to the app, and you can do this trick tomorrow. So yeah.
And again, will I get the PDF so I can print out the business cards?
No, that's the best. Yeah, you get the PDF, so you can print the business card out. And the cool part is, since you get it in the like here's the app interface, it automatically loads the photos for you, so that way all the outs are already in there, and that give you the video and teach you how to do everything. So yeah, you don't have to do anything. All the cards are there, and all you gotta do is print these up, and you're good to go. So
that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant, Ryan.
Thank you.
Your thinking is incredible. Now, I want to ask you a couple more questions, but you piqued my interest earlier. I need to ask you one of the before we move on with the interview. This is my favorite interview I've done ever. I'm loving this. You said you were going to do something with a pack of cards that I've got.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
Oh, get some cards. Away with that one. This sounds interesting.
Okay, let's do it. You got cards? Grab some cards.
It has to be a full deck.
No, have to be just grab 5 cards. I only need 5 cards. Don't only show me what you grab. Don't show me. Don't only show me the color. I don't even know don't show me the color of the deck. Leave it as a complete mystery.
Okay, I have.
So do this whole thing off screen.
Yeah, I've got 5 cards. We're good.
Okay, so you'll be off screen. Don't show me anything. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Take those cards for me and just off screen, just mix them up. So you know they're mixed, right?
Yep.
Right. It's pointless, but just in case, maybe I saw the reflection behind you. I don't know. Who knows, right? So do help me out and then spread the cards like this, and then give them a cut. Okay, and then spread them again, give them a cut, and then spread them again, and then give them a cut. This way, there's no way I can give them a couple spreads, couple cuts, right? So far, so good. Okay.
Yep.
Now, look at the bottom card. Memorize the bottom card. You got it memorized?
Got it.
Okay. Now do it one more time. Spread the cards again like this. Spread them, and then give them a cut one more time. Okay. So I don't know. So now, okay, cool. So now you have a card in mind.
Yep.
We'll try this out. Don't show me, of course. Take the first card that's face down on top and deal it face up to your side, so you can see the card to one of the sides. Okay. Okay. Say the card out loud. Don't just say the card. What card did you just deal face up?
Queen of Spades.
Queen of Spade. No. Okay. Deal the next card face up on top of the queen. Deal the next card face up.
Okay.
And say it out loud.
2 of Spades.
Stop right there. Craig, for the first time, what was the name of your card?
it was the two of spades.
Exactly.
I'm completely fooled. I have no idea how you did that. Completely fooled. That's brilliant. That's awesome.
And that's in the False Anchors book. So.
Oh, man, I need that book. That's brilliant. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to do that trick with that trick's I do it a lot of times with over the phone with people with their wallets. I'll say, take out your driver's license, your credit cards, your business cards, and just get objects and do the same tricks. And then you'll Visa card, there's just random from their wallet. So you don't have to have playing cards to do that trick, but yeah, it's fun.
Right. And you know, it's a buzz thing. People are always looking for stuff they can do virtually over Zoom and Skype and, you know, so on and so forth. That's something that's incredible. Okay, let me ask you a question. You many times during this interview, you've referred yourself as a creator, and I think of you as a creator as well. You're not a professional performer. You've obviously done paid gigs many times, but your focus isn't creating. It's performing. It's creating. Which and you've got a full-time job outside of magic. I'd like to very quickly talk about this if we could, because
sure.
You know, we kind of mentioned this off camera before we started filming, but I said to you, the problem with the magic community is it's almost like some people look down on the people that aren't professional magicians. Like, oh, you're not professional, you don't know what you're talking about. While from my point of view, you know, my favorite magicians are people like John Bannon, John Gustafaro, Joe Reinfeldt, people who have a full-time job and they do magic, because I think that when you're not relying on magic for a paycheck, you can be more creative, because, you know, I'm a full-time professional magician, man. I do ambitious hard way more than I want to, because I just know it's going to work.
You know it works.
I know it works. And, you know, the clever stuff that I do, I'm not in a situation where I can do that an awful lot. Well, but a lot of people that are watching this that maybe newer into magic, you know, when the pandemic ends and everything goes back to a certain amount of normality, do you have any advice on whether somebody should go full time, or maybe you can share with us your own personal reasons, and it might help a lot.
Yeah. I think for me, I mean, there was maybe a moment in time that I realized, oh, maybe I could do it full time, because I always perform, but like I said, always, you know, in high school and college, so I was doing school, so I had the time for it. But once again, I didn't do it all the time. I had like once a week, I would do a regular gig. So I you know, once I try to do it like a lot, like, oh, I'll do it like every day that week, and then I was just exhausted. Like I just didn't. Then the enjoyment wasn't quite there for me personally. I know some guys they're always on and they love it. So then I realized, you know, it's just not for me. Like I don't want to be performing. I don't want to be on 24/7. So I just didn't find that my enjoyment. But I love showing people's tricks. Now I found the balance where I have my full-time job, so I just have my steady Eddie kind of thing. But now it affords me the time to just create. Like you said, I don't have the pressures to put out magic. I don't have to worry about, like I said, I have time to daydream about a new card move or a new business card trick, because I can. You know, I have I don't have to worry about like making the money. I just like, oh, I just had a cool idea. Like this trick was like, you know, I'm probably on like some meeting, I'm bored, I have a sketch pad and I was just sketching the idea, and I just kind of sketched this concept out, and I just, you know, before you know it became a routine, you know. So you had one more point to this conversation I was going to get to. What was your last part of the question? I want to answer it.
Just do you have any advice for people that are?
Oh, that's right. The advice.
Right over whether to become professional or not.
Yeah. So I think that's what I want to answer. So for me, I think it's important for everyone, like this means just a general life experience. I think you should always have an outlet that is like protected and special. And magic for me was that outlet. That's where I can be. That's where I go to conventions. That's where I have friends like you in the business who, like, this is alive. Like I had a whole work day and I only feel alive now because I'm having this jam with you talking ideas. You know what I mean? Like, so this is what keeps me sane, right? But if I did this every day, then it switches. Then like that day job, this is my day job now. So for me, that's why I didn't mix the two. So it becomes like the enjoyable, Like for someone, it's watching some sporting event, watching a soccer match or something like that. You know, for me, it's like coming up with these tricks. Like my wife always tells me, like, I never sit still, which I don't. You know, even outside of magic, I have my real job, magic. I even have other side businesses I run that are unrelated to all of it, right? I run like a clothing company. I run an athletic clothing company called NWSC Activewear. So because I love fitness. So I run I taught myself photography and videography. So I've actually done like did videography for people's weddings, and I actually filmed mini weddings doing videography and professionally edit it and charge for it. You know, so I'm definitely like, I love creating. I love learning new things. So for me, so I'm probably an exception to the rule. But for those people out there that want to pursue this full time, I think you know what you should do is try it first and see if it really fits. Like go out and perform every day for a month and see, did I like that or did I not like that? You know what I mean? And also do it in a safety net. Like you have your full-time job. Did you make enough money to support yourself that month? That's the biggest question, right? I think some people jump ship and they realize, oh crap, this is hard. I 7 of my restaurants just dropped me, and now now I get a job at McDonald's or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. For each person, I think you just gotta look inside your soul and see, is it for you? Is this your thing? And for me, it wasn't. Like I choose to stay this way. Yeah, the way I'm doing it now.
I've met professional magicians, and you can tell that they are going through the motions. They've said the same thing that they have said a million times, and the passion is no longer there. And you can see, I don't want to say they're dead inside, but they don't want to be there. They're just, it's a job to them that they're not enjoying. And that happens when a hobby becomes a job. It's no longer a hobby, you know, it can be a hobby. But
let me ask you a question just because I'm curious the answer, and I think it'll help people at home too. Is like, you are a full-time magician and you're doing this, so like when you actually don't have to perform, you can sit down and just have a jam session with magicians. Like, how is that different from your performing? Is that still recharge you, or do you have another hobby that you look for way outside magic to keep you sane?
Well, you know, I'm a little bit different because I kind of look at, when I get a chance to go out and perform, that's almost like me doing my hobby, because I run the business. You got to remember, I run an entertainment company, an entertainment agency, and my other passion is marketing. My background is marketing. The first business I set up was a marketing agency. Before I was a magician or a professional magician, I set up a marketing agency, ironically called Magic Force Promotions Limited. I set up a marketing company, and marketing is my passion. And when I'm in the business, like today, for example, I spent like 5 or 6 hours on the phone to people, talking about SEO, talking about Google rankings, talking about what we do. And that's why I'm loving doing this YouTube channel so much, because I love YouTube marketing. And I love implementing that stuff into the channel and watching the channel grow, not so much with the content I'm putting out, but with implementing the marketing techniques that I've studied over the years. So when I go out and perform, although I am a full-time professional magician, without being funny, I could not perform and it wouldn't make any difference because of the money that's coming in. So when I go out and choose to do a gig, it's because I've cherry-picked that gig. Oh, that looks like a fun gig. I think I'd have a blast at that one. I'm going to go and do that gig. I'm going to do that gig. So it's a bit of a weird situation with me, because although I'm a full-time performer, it's kind of, and I love performing. I love magic. I love performing. And going out and doing the gigs. You know, I've got a jam in a couple of days, just over Zoom with 5 or 6 friends, and it's a totally different feeling. It's kind of like, I'll be showing some new ideas, I'll be looking at their new ideas, and I never get bored of talking about magic ever. I don't know.
I'm the same way. I think you answered the question because I didn't know all the details. And it sounds like you and I are very similar in a sense, because you don't rely on the income from just performing to make it, right? You still are pursuing your hobby, which in this case happens to be marketing. And you're doing marketing, which is your day job. You happen to like it, which is fine, but you still have your outlet of performing, which is now technically your hobby. So I guess in your sense, you're the same as me. Like we're the same in that sense. If you look at it, yours is more closely related because you're an entertainment company that's also, you know, you're more adjacent than my other hobbies. But
but it's the same thing. It's, you know, I love video editing, and this YouTube channel allows me to to do a lot of video editing. And it's interesting that you say you're a video editor, because I thought the Locked and Loaded trailer was one of the best trailers I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I
myself and everything. I was blown away with that trailer. I was like, this is the smartest, cleverest magic trailer I've ever seen. This must have cost a fortune to put together. And now I know what the situation was. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was just me by myself with a camera and then edited myself. So that was solely, I did the whole thing myself. You know how hard it is to keep track of 3 views while you're filming? Very hard. Very hard. So
I can imagine.
Yeah. I have a good friend, Chris. I'll have to call him out. Christian McGill. He came out and helped me because, you know, he would like frame the camera up for me and help me film, because that's so hard to constantly go back and try to hit the camera. But so he helped me while the filming. But yeah, I did all the thinking, all the I performed for myself. That was hard. And then did all the editing, because obviously I wanted that moment in that video where I handed me the deck and then I picked it up. I wanted to create that. And as an editor, that's a crap ton of masking and editing to get that little effect. for 1 second, it took me like a day of editing to get that one moment. So
I watched it and I was super blown away. In fact, for you guys that haven't seen the trailer, with your permission, Ryan, I'm going to run that very quickly now so that you can see what we're talking about. Let's just quickly have a look at that trailer.
I woke up in the middle of the night with an app idea I didn't think it was possible. For centuries, magicians said this app could not exist. But guess what? I did it! I created the ultimate prediction system in your pocket. I'm Ryan Schlutz, and this is Locked and Loaded! Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a little bit much, but in all seriousness, I did create something awesome. Let's get into it. So what I did was create an app. Now, when I created it, I wanted to make sure that it was still direct, it was streamlined, super easy, and most importantly, it didn't take away from the performance itself. Now, you're not just limited to playing cards. You can even predict someone's favorite NFL team, someone's favorite actor, or heck, even someone's favorite Disney character. It is instantly resettable, always ready to go. This does not rely on voice recognition. You don't have to worry about any gyroscopes going wrong. This is the most... Listen, we get it. This app is good for 2 things: to make you look good and to me look Jesus. I am so sorry. He really does mean well. It's just a little bit misguided. But hey, since I'm here, let's make the best of it. I did have a live performance I want to show you guys, so let's kick it off now. Hey, funny running you here. Hey, sure. You want to help me out? I want to show these guys this effect we've been working on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're good? Okay. Hey, go ahead and shuffle the cards up for me, but maybe spread them like on the table so they're kind of mixed up. Yeah, just everywhere. Like kind of spread them out nice and wide so you have a good choice of cards. Maybe bring some from the bottom there. Yeah, to the top. And wait, you know what? This is weird. Like kind of getting like this feeling we'd like done this before. Have I shown this before?
I don't think so.
You know, it might have been a long time ago, but I feel like it was recently. You know, I'm just trying to remember it. Yeah, you took one card. Yeah, that's right. You took one card and you turned it face up. You go and do it now. Just turn one card face up. See, now, so that's random, but I think I gave you an option to switch it. Like, do you want to switch it for another card, or do you want to keep that one? Hey, you can switch it, that's fine. Okay, yeah, go ahead and switch it for another one. Okay, whatever. So that one right there? Well, I mean, that's so strange you chose that one.
Okay.
You know why? Because this is the one you chose last time. I know you don't believe me, but it's weird. I remember you did that, you flipped it over. I took a picture on my phone and actually put it on the lock screen. I know. It's so strange. I don't know. It's crazy.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, thanks for helping.
So yeah, that's the Locked and Loaded trailer, guys, and yeah, it really is an amazing trailer. So I'm glad I wasn't even going to ask you that question, but that's answered a lot of questions that I had about that. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Perfect. Yeah, that favorite part of that trailer is the part me and my friend were laughing at the most was at the very beginning where I'm like, they said it was impossible, but guess what? I did it. That was like, that took me like 17 takes because I would laugh every single time I delivered that line because that's a very hard line to do seriously. So I did it. And then you notice I had a leather jacket on. That leather jacket I have since high school. That's my old leather jacket when I was like cool guy Ryan with a leather jacket. But I haven't worn it since then. But it came in handy for that trailer because that was bad boy Ryan. So
Ryan, that is awesome. And you know, your full time, your day job, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that it's a very analytical position because of the type of magic that you create. It kind of suggests to me that your brain is wired a certain way. Am I right in saying that?
No, it's very. I do finance. I do number juggling. So I very analytical job. It's dealing with numbers all day long, and yeah. So that's all I do. So I'm a finance manager for those who are wondering. So
it's the same with Joe Reinfleisch. I was doing an interview with Joe Reinfleisch a little while back, and he had the same thing. He's got a full-time job in cybersecurity.
Yep.
And it seems that a lot of magicians gravitate towards these very analytical positions where they're trying to solve problems because that's kind of what they're used to in their magic as well.
Yeah, I noticed like a lot of magicians in generally are just like puzzles, not magic, just like solving puzzles. I think Rubik's cubes, and I think we're just that kind of magic is just so adjacent to it that I think it all relates. So. Yeah, magic is kind of a puzzle. I mean, think about it. What is magic? It's just a puzzle someone doesn't know the answer to, so it comes off magical, really. And if you really boil it down to the basics, it's I did something you don't know what I did, so it looks like magic, So it's unanswerable question, But yeah,
absolutely true. Well, let me ask you a question before we wrap this whole thing up. Let me ask you a question that I ask every single guest on this channel.
Okay.
And it's very, very, it's a question that really works well with you, which is what's next? Because, you've had, and without being funny, you've had the career that a lot of people would dream of. If I turn around to somebody and say, no, seriously, a lot of people dream about being a magic creator. You've released best-selling products, best-selling DVDs. You've published 4 books. You've worked with Big Blind Media, Vanishing Ink. You've worked with Penguin. You've worked with all of the big boys. You've worked directly with Murphy's. You've got your own cards. You've got your own app. You've got all of this stuff. If you stopped creating today and said, right, I'm walking away from magic, you would create a legacy that will last forever. But you're not even, your mid-30s, a long way to go yet. I know that you're not going to give it up now. So what's next? Is there anything left on your bucket list that you haven't achieved yet? Because you've done it all. What is there left for you to do?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's you said. I think I did watch a really cool video the other day. I looked the guy up. Maybe I'll find it before we leave. I think everyone should watch this. It was so cool because it was like we always think creativity is a positive thing, and it's the first video I saw with a guy. He says actually a curse. It's the curse of creativity, because like you said, will you walk away? And the answer is no. I physically can't stop creating. It's like a sickness in the brain where my happiness is derived from creating. It could be magic, it could be video editing, it could be something, but I have to be creating something, right? So it's a different way of thinking of it. It's like a curse, but I mean, long as you don't let it take it over you, right? So for me, I mean, I have so much more magic that I want to put out. Like I have several more book ideas I want to release. I have a new book test coming out, which is coming out with abstract effects. And I have this brand new wearable trick it's a locket trick where I want to put out soon. And that one's intense because I had to learn 3D modeling and work with all these people and develop, 3D printing, which is way outside my comfort zone. But I'm learning it because why not, right? So I have that coming out, and then just many things. I have a new deck of cards. I was almost going to show you the new deck, but maybe no one's seen this box yet. Too fast. Okay. So I have a new deck of cards I'm working on now. I'm gonna do my first Kickstarter because the first ones I put out myself. So the Kickstarter it's scary to me, but also it's cool because now some of the things I want to do in my first decks, I couldn't do because of costs. But now with Kickstarter, I can just, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's no risk to anybody. And if I can fund it, great. I'll have this awesome deck of cards with these cool features built in that I just couldn't do on my own. It's just many things coming. Many things coming. I'm excited, So now I think I'm just focusing on things that like card magic for me is fine. I'll never stop it, but I'm like personally stepping away and trying to see how I can develop other non-card tricks and seeing what I can come up with. And that's why my last book was all on these business card terribles. And my new idea is on the wearables. I'm just really coming out like, what's a cool wearable that looks cool, that's practical, that's actually usable. And then that's my new obsession, is coming up with ideas with that. And then even in the Legitimate jam sessions that I've done, like people have like taken that small idea, now it's like way better just because of sharing and this and that. But yeah, I'm excited. Like it keeps me going. Like I have so many things planned. And then here's a cool little behind the scenes, because people always think like, Ryan, you're always come up with ideas. It's not that you're always coming up with ideas. Like there's always a lagging amount of ideas, and they just happen to keep coming out. So that's the, ideas come out that this year started 5 years ago, and then the ideas next year started 4 years ago, and it's always this continuous wave. And then they come out when they're ready. And that's what we said earlier. It's all about, they come out when I feel like it's good. Like even this locket idea, like it's one of those ideas where it could work. This might be the only time you guys hear about it, because 6 months from now, I'll be like, you know what? This is not how I envisioned it. Was just scrap it. And I'll just walk away from it. I'm not going to put it out if it doesn't work the exact way I want it to. Yeah. So yeah, you'll be more for me. You haven't heard the last of me yet. So.
Well, you know what? Have you got on your Full Sankers website? Have you got a mailing list as well? Because it's like you said, those booklets sell out quick, and they're always got some great material in there. Is there a mailing list where we can get on so that we get a notification?
Yeah, I do have a mailing list. There's a sign up link on there. So yeah, usually that's the first people that I email everyone first, and it's kind of first come first serve. And yeah, I'm not trying to brag. My last 3 books all sold out within a week. They're just gone. You know what I mean? And it's cool. I mean, it's just awesome. They sell fast, but it's fun. It's cool that people trust me enough to buy something that's like, because I don't really. Well, those books, I never put out like trailers and this. I just kind of just say, if you like my style, this is just more my style. You know what I mean? Like that's it. And people, it's cool that people have that trust in you. And then because of that, I never want to betray it. So it's always going to keep me when you have my books, I'm always imagining the reader going, okay, they're going to love this or hate this, and I'm going to make sure they love it. So I really try hard to make sure they love it. So
that's fantastic. And you mentioned the next 2 things, are they coming out with Abstract Events? Is that events? Abstract Effects? What was it like working with those guys? Because the other brothers had come out of nowhere with this. I mean, they were obviously creators in their own right, and then all of a sudden they've been bringing out a lot of magic through Abstract, through their company, and a lot of people are getting a lot of people to pay attention.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, other brothers are cool dudes. I met them years ago at I think MagiFest for the first time, and then we just kind of hit it off. Daryl Williams, the larger of the 2 Daryls, like we just hit it off like really well. And I mean, Dave, if you're watching, I love you too. Don't get me wrong now. But they're both great guys. But then I just kind of mentally hit it off with them. And I have a lot of ideas that like I said, we talk about working with different companies. So I have ideas that I think are cool, but no one wants to put it out. Like to just say, oh, that's not for us. It's just fine. I don't take offense. It's, like I said, every company has a brand and an image. It's not for them. But the other brothers, since they're small and they're definitely like building, they really like latched on to some of my more aggressive ideas. And they said, oh, that's awesome. Let's do this thing. So it's kind of cool that they're willing to, work with me and make it a reality. So the very first thing is the book test, which it's a very different. I mean, I put out a couple of videos where it's people who don't know the book test. Essentially, it's a book test, but it's so different. Essentially, North book test, they have the book, they read through it. And mine, you actually can watch it on. It just went on Penn and Teller Fool Us. You can watch it on the new season. A friend of mine performed it on TV. So Noah Sony, look up Noah Fool Us, the new season, and you can watch the book test and see exactly what it is. Like it's in short. You rip the cover off, you rip the pages apart, you hand them the pages, they pick any page they want. The page gets ripped up into 1,000,000 pieces. They take one piece, they look at either side, they can see multiple words, they choose one, and you know exactly what they're thinking of. So it's like that's the trick. It's just a chaos book test. Now if he wants to fool us, he burns the book. If you don't burn it, believe it or not, the book actually reassembles. So that's the cool thing. It gets ripped apart, but it's like a fake. There's method to how it looks real, but really the book goes back together, and you can do repeat performances with it. So
Wow.
Yeah. That's my standing. That's my workhorse. Like my baby, my my stand-up show. When I do a stand-up, that's my non-card magic stand-up material. So yeah.
Wow. And when's that hoping to be out?
I don't know. I imagine any day now. I think within the next 3 months we should see it out. But don't quote me on it, because I know they just got the last bit put together. I saw the packaging was all done, so it's probably on that home stretch where it's probably going to be out, relatively soon. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it to get out there.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yay. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And one other question before we wrap all this up.
Sure.
Are you planning on another app? I mean, you said you spent 2 years coming. You now know an app developer. Locked and Loaded with such an amazing idea. Are you thinking about other apps down the line?
Yeah, I have. Well, it might not be a new app. It might just be additional add-ons to Locked and Loaded, because I have 2 very different ideas that could be its own app. But I think to keep it easy on me, I'll just have it be like additional add-ons that you could buy or not buy. So just new features. So it'll just be continuing adding features that you can add on or not add on if you want to. Like for Locked and Loaded, just for you to know, I have this really cool, basically propless, what are you going to call it? Confabulation routine with it. So imagine walking up to an audience of people and like, oh, name something, name this, name something, and you, sir, just point something on the table, whether it be like you're at a restaurant, a salt shaker, this and that, and be like, oh, that's so crazy. I actually have a Post-it note where I hand wrote a note, and now it says, you will choose Mickey Mouse, you will pick the salt shaker, and then this will be the whatever. So now you have this impromptu confabulation all done with Locked and Loaded. So It can't do it now, but there's just a couple. Honestly, it's not hard to add on. It's just a little bit more coding, and then I can add the feature in. It'll just be another add-on. So I'm really excited about that one. That one I'm like really excited about. So
that is so cool, and it's very honorable of you. A lot of people would just bring this out as an entirely new full-priced app, while you're just doing it as as an add-on to Locked and Loaded for the users of Locked and Loaded. That's brilliant. That's just
why make it complicated? Just build it in. I don't want to. And it's the same reveals. It's all adjacent. So I want to keep it like in the same community. And like I said, I just have so many. I have so many routines, just like card tricks, this and that I can continue. Like I said, I can continue like within the in-app like downloads, because I'm bringing out free and paid stuff. So don't think I'm just bringing out stuff. I'm constantly trying to put out like the first 2 ones are all free. I just say, hey guys, here's an image set for you guys, just for fun, And I had to take every one of those pictures myself. You know what I mean? Like, and load it and edit it. It probably took me like a week to get all this stuff together, and then to get it ready for the app. You know what I mean? But like I said, I do it for the love, and if you guys do it, and I'm gonna do it for you guys. It makes me excited. And that routine especially, I'm like the confabulation. Only thing stopping me, unfortunately, because it's just me. It's just like I don't have endless money supplied. So if you guys want all these features and Locked and Loaded, tell your friends, because the more I sell, then I just channel that money back into the app. So just know I'm not making any money on this thing. It's strictly just for the magic. So yeah, apps are expensive. Just so you guys, who's out there want to make money, they're expensive to make.
Yeah, so. I can only imagine how expensive they are. So once again, on behalf of the whole Locked and Loaded community, thank you so much for everything you're doing and continue to do.
It was awesome. I'm so happy it came out the way, and then I'm so happy people like that. Was of all the things I put out, that was the scariest thing I ever put out, because I just didn't know how it was gonna. It was the largest investment on my part to do, and it could have you guys could have hated it, and then I would have been like, well, all right, that I just didn't know. It was horrifying, but then everyone really loved it, and I was like, oh, thank goodness, oh thank goodness. So it scared me to half to death.
Incredible. Ryan, it has been a real pleasure speaking to you. You're somebody that I've wanted to have on the channel for a long time. For people that are watching this, if you haven't checked out any of Ryan's material, a lot of the stuff that you've put out through Penguin and Vanishing Ink and Big Blind Media, it's still available to buy. Go onto those various different websites. You can see it on there. Check out False Anchors. Check out the Locked and Loaded app. Is it on Android as well, or is it just Apple?
No, it's not on Android right now. Just for people who are wondering, it really it's just economies of scale. I need to sell a lot more iPhones before I can put it on the Android. So tell your friends. So tell your friends, and then
bottom line is, if you've got an Android, it's your own fault. It's as simple as that, you know.
Yeah.
If you're a magician, you need an iPhone, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, you know, check out the Locked and Loaded app. If you honestly, you know, it won app of the year. We gave it 100%. Ryland gave it 100%.
Love it.
It's absolutely amazing. If you have a phone and you are a magician and it's an iPhone and you haven't had Locked and Loaded yet, have a quiet word with yourself, because it's brilliant. And we done, as I say, it's the one trick that I do in every virtual show, right from the very beginning, every single one. It's very close to the beginning of the show. I do that. It's just killer. It's killer.
So, you said it earlier. It's like the ultimate easy opening. And as a card trick, you could just do it like you could have someone virtually take any card out, show it to the screen without even saying it, and then you slowly lift your phone up to show they match. You know what I mean? Without any words. He's like, hey, let's try something silently. I want you to just like shuffle it up, take a card out. Don't show me. I'll tell you what, we'll show at the same time. Now you're holding the phone like this, and they show you. Now you obviously do the input as you come up, and then you touch the screen, and that's it. You know, it's so clean, and it looks like, you know, like it's just this perfect method.
And I do it as a compatibility test. If I'm going into a longer routine, I kind of do this thing. Hey, we're going to see if we're compatible. Let's see if we can do this experiment right here. I've got my phone. I'll put it here, and it builds that connection. I think that's that's what you need to do with a virtual show. You need to. It needs to be on more than just the magic trick, and you've got that connection with each other. It's absolutely great. So yeah.
Thank you. For the last closing thought, it's like for this app, for people who are doing the virtual shows or even in person, if you guys can do that yet, it's like, don't just think of the app as an add-on to your existing magic, like whether it be card tricks or mentalism. Think about this. This is a in your pocket, multiple out system at your fingertips. So for me, it's like even this routine. I do this routine without the colors. I add that on after the fact. So I just do this routine as a multiple out type trick. And then I was like, well, if I use the app, well, then I can do this. I can do the sparking. I can do the random numbers. I can do the colors. I can add all these different things, and now I get the kicker. You know what I mean? So it's not a card trick. It's just a kicker or an opening, and it just fits. It fits. Trust me, right now, it fit into all your guys' magic. Just find one trick. You can easily do this thing, no problem at all. So, yeah, or do what you said. Just do name a card. Here it is. You know, so that's it.
There's so many different options. I was even playing around, as you know, because I'm putting a community between doing a transposition with the deck and the phone. And,
I saw that. Yeah, that's cool.
There's so many different things. If you're creative, your mind will go in a million different directions.
Yeah, people's ideas on the Facebook group, that on the Lot to Look Up user group, like people have cool ideas, and then some people haven't even shared. They only share with me, but they're doing it in their own acts. But I'll keep it. I wouldn't tell them, but they're cool ideas. I'm like, that's a pretty cool idea. I'm like, if you ever want to share it with the group, I won't stop you. You know, so it's fun. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how people. The group's great. You guys are very honest, and I love the group so much. So
amazing. You created something brilliant there. So one more time, Ryan, thank you so much for being on the channel.
Thank you for having me.
You are amazing. Make sure you support Ryan with the app, with his website and everything he's done, because he's honestly, Ryan, you know that I've built a reputation for myself as telling the truth to a fault sometimes, and I'm telling you right now, you are one of the good guys in magic. So please.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot for me. And thank you everyone who's watching today and sitting through this whole thing. I appreciate you guys' time.
Awesome. Guys, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. I'm going to be back tomorrow with another video. Leave a comment down below. I'm sure Ryan will read them all. So if you like the interview, leave a comment down below, and I'll be back again soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again.